In 2 Kings chapter 1, we find that King Ahab has died. Now his son, King Ahaziah, has taken over the rulership of the northern 10-tribe kingdom of Israel. Notice verse 1, it says, Moab rebelled against Israel after the death of Ahab. Now Ahaziah fell through the lattice of his upper room in Samaria and was injured. So he sent messengers and said to them, Go inquire of Baal-zebub, the god of Ekron, whether I shall recover from this injury. But the angel of Yahweh said to Elijah the Tishbite, Arise, go up to meet the messengers of the king of Samaria, and say to them, Is it because there is no God in Israel that you are going to inquire of Baal-zebub, the god of Ekron? Now therefore, thus says Yahweh, You shall not come down from the bed to which you have gone up, but you shall surely die. So Elijah departed. And when the messengers returned to him, he said to them, Why have you come back? And so they said to him, A man came up to meet us and said to us, Go return to the king who sent you, and say to him, Thus says Yahweh, Is it because there is no God in Israel that you are sending to inquire of Baal-zebub, the god of Ekron? Therefore you shall not come down from the bed to which you have gone up, but you shall surely die. Then he said to them, What kind of man was it who came up to meet you and told you these words? And so they answered him, A hairy man wearing a leather belt around his waist. And he said, It is Elijah the Tishbite. Then the king sent to him a captain of 50 with his 50 men. And so he went up to him, and there he was sitting on the top of a hill. And he spoke to him, Man of God, the king has said, Come down. So Elijah answered and said to the captain of 50, If I am a man of God, then let fire come down from heaven and consume you and your 50 men. And fire came down from heaven and consumed him and his 50. Then he sent to him another captain of 50 with his 50 men. And he answered and said to him, Man of God, thus has the king said, Come down quickly. So Elijah answered and said to them, If I am a man of God, let fire come down from heaven and consume you and your 50 men. And the fire of God came down from heaven and consumed him and his 50. Again he sent a third captain of 50 with his 50 men. And the third captain of 50 went up and came and fell on his knees before Elijah and pleaded with him and said to him, Man of God, please let my life and the life of these 50 servants of yours be precious in your sight. Look, fire has come down from heaven and burned up the first two captains of 50s with their 50s, but let my life now be precious in your sight. And the angel of Yahweh said to Elijah, Go down with him. Do not be afraid of him. So he arose and went down with him to the king. Then he said to him, Thus says Yahweh, because you have sent messengers to inquire of Baal-zebub, the god of Ekron, is it because there is no God in Israel to inquire of his word? Therefore you shall not come down from the bed which you have gone up, but you shall surely die. So Ahaziah died according to the word of Yahweh, which Elijah had spoken. Instead of seeking God's favor and help in the situation that Ahaziah was in, he went to go seek these pagan gods. By means of pagan gods, they were able to conjure up their own philosophies, their own teachings that tickled their ears, instead of sticking to the truth and going to the true God. Today we see that people seek uh, information and direction from philosophers and so-called wise men of the world. They hold them up as though they are the source of knowledge. They hear a psychologist say something, they think that that's truth. Or they hear a scientist say something because they said it, they believe it. And they don't seek God, but they seek imperfect humans who are in the same imperfect condition as we're in for direction, and they take that as their standard of living. They take that as something that they should follow. They're there to buy their books, their magazines, instead of seeking the wisdom from God. You follow them in regards to how to raise children, how to handle your marriage and deal with others, and you listen to what they're saying and ignoring what God is saying, you suffer the results of that. They exalt humans just because they can sing a good song. You know, they become fans of them. They follow everything they do. But when it comes to God, what he's saying, they're not concerned about that. They live their life by what other imperfect humans who gain fame and notoriety. They will have the Bible readily available to read, but instead of reading it on a regular basis, taking it as bread, they are more concerned about buying books of religious leaders and adopting what they say instead of making sure that what they're saying does not go beyond what's written. Now we notice that King Ahaziah, when he heard the message back from Elijah the prophet, he didn't like that message. And so he went and sent his men to bring Elijah in. And this is what bad leaders, rulers do. The truth comes their way, they want to attack the messenger. They want to suppress the truth. They want everything said to conform to their narrative instead of what the truth is. False religion does this very thing. The truth comes out, they're proven wrong, they want to suppress that truth. They cannot overcome the truthful information, so they're attacking the messenger, just like Ahaziah was doing here. But Elijah, he was up on that hill. The first group of 50, the first group, the captain with his 50 came, and they were in no uncertain terms. Come on down. Wasn't any humility involved here, was there? Just arrogance. Elijah said, if I'm a man of the true God, as you say, let fire come down and consume you. And that's what happened. The second group brought the same arrogance. Same thing happened. The third group, the captain went to Elijah in full humility and pleaded with him, and him and his 50 were shown mercy. As Jesus said, those who exalt themselves will be humiliated. Those who humble themselves will be exalted. So you think of the things that cause people to have lack of humility. When people want power, they're greedy for power. Not to serve others, but to be served. Arrogance is right there at the core. The rich, too, many times engulfed in this arrogance. In fact, Jesus says it's easier for a camel to get through an eye of a needle than for a rich man into the kingdom of heaven. A person that boasts in their flesh, their skin color, their race. Because God could send anyone as a messenger. And if you have arrogance of your race and you think it's beneath you, someone of another race coming to give you correction, then you know which group you fall in here. Think about Peter, the Apostle Peter, when he went to Antioch. And for a while he was eating with the Gentiles. Then ones that came from James, from Jerusalem, came to Antioch, Jews, and he stopped eating with the Gentiles in order not to offend those Jews. And then here comes Paul in the picture. bringing correction to Peter. And what was Peter's action? Did he tell Paul, you know, you can't tell me nothing? I mean, I'm one of the original 11 with Jesus. I mean, I was with Jesus every day. You weren't. So how are you going to come and tell me something? Did Peter take that particular attitude? No. He stood condemned. He accepted correction. But you think about a lot of these other religious leaders today, they get to a point where nobody can tell them anything. They got something wrong and they're not listening. They shut down the conversation because they don't want nobody correcting them. They definitely do not follow the humble example of Peter. And the false religions, what they do, they manipulate people to develop cults, a cult situation. They tell people you're better than other people. You're special in this way or that way. That way they can get a following. They're tickling their ears. And that gets them away from Jesus' statement that we should be like good-for-nothing slaves. That should be our mentality, that humble mentality. By learning the lessons of the past and maintaining that humility, we can become like this last captain of the 50s and be able to see God show us mercy